And here it says live.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. So, yeah, welcome to the very first episode of Global Movement Project. I'm so excited here. So, we have a special guest, which is Teresa Toledo. Actually, it's my first time to pronounce your name, so correct me if I'm wrong. And
That's
she's the
fine.
best. She's the best Pinterest marketing expert and a content creation mentor who helps business owners and creators build their online presence with her Pinterest marketing strategies. So we met from the Social Click, which is run by Rachel Peterson and other mentors. And I heard great things about Teresa. So that's why I reached out to her and asked the collaboration. And it turns out that she built amazing, successful six-figure business on her own as a person who spoke English as a second language. Briefly, the reason why I'm doing this is because we, as a non-native English speaker and people of color, women with diverse backgrounds, sometimes we focus on the, more about like disadvantages, not about superpower. So I hope this global movement project can help you overcome the fear of your obstacles and make your business flourish. Let's get started. So,
Well,
hi, Teresa.
for having me here and for the warm introduction. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I prepared really, really hard. Thank you, though. So I know we've talked about yourself a little bit, but can you share a bit about your background and what you do if I missed anything like that?
Well, pretty much, my name is Tereza Toledo. I am Brazilian. I've been in the United States for over 20 years now. English is not my native language, right? I started learning English when I was already in my early teenager years. So there is an accent, there are mistakes, there is getting lost in the translation sometimes, right? All those things. I did start my business pretty much 8 years ago. It was a very soft start. I learned things on the go. I started as an intern, and from there, I learned and realized that I could offer, that knowledge and that service to other people. And from that, it was just a matter of trial and error, connecting with people, um, pretty much getting over myself and all of my fears, being realizing that my weakness was also my superpower. And pretty much, I've worked with my main specialization was Pinterest, but I
Mhm.
also help clients with social media, website, emailing, with TikTok, video content creation, and so much more.
Wow. So yeah, it's been 8 years to build your business, right?
Yes, to be honest, I could say it didn't take me 8 years.
Mhm.
It took, I would, if we are looking into, okay, the highest point or when I saw things really speeding up, it was around year five, year four, year five. But also, we need to keep in mind that from those 8 years, that is that beginning when you still don't know what you're doing, when you're still trying different things. Before I decided to specialize in offering Pinterest marketing, I offered, Instagram, Facebook, other kinds of social media marketing, creation. Pretty much I was doing it all until we got to the point that I realized, you know what, this is what I enjoy the most, but also
Mhm.
this is where I want to spend more time. So it
That's
does take, it's not a thing that you just wake up and, oh, I'm going to do this and this is the end. No, it's always evolving. And I look at it right now as it's still evolving, it's still changing,
how.
still new opportunities coming. And just it's a matter of exploring them and keep going.
Right. Yeah, that's how we are kind of excited about our future for sure. So perfect. And we want to know actually what inspired you to start your business in the US as a non-native English speaker because you could actually run your business in the other country, but why it was the US?
It For me, it felt like a kind of a natural transition and progression. The programs that I was working with as an intern were American programs. And I just never really thought, okay, let me go back and offer this. I did see the opportunity in the US, bigger than at that time offering the services in my country. Now, when I look back, I do see that if I was starting now, and I also know other folks, in a similar situation, who really work with Brazilian customers.
Mm-hmm.
So I just believe that at that moment, for me, it made more sense and it was more intuitive. I do have this intuitive organic approach on everything that I do, and my business is no exception. So it just progressed normally, and eventually when I got to the point, well, what if maybe I could translate this, maybe I could reach out to different people, but I didn't feel, at that point was like, oh, this will serve me the best. Also, we have to keep in mind that depending on what you're doing and who you're serving, there is always that difference in dollars and
Mm-hmm.
the value of money in other countries. So what I would charge here, let's say, as a retainer, $1,500, wouldn't would be perceived as, okay, this is something that's doable, right? Is within the budget. But when I would translate that to a Brazilian company or
Mm-hmm.
business, it would be like, whoa, this is way too much
Right.
because of, how much is the labor there, right? I can have somebody doing this for much less, but it's not that, it's the difference of the money and the goals, everything, what the things that you want to achieve. Also, we always have this thinking of marketing as the same thing everywhere. It's not. There
Mm-hmm.
are cultural differences in and you have to observe that and keep that in mind when you are creating, when you're serving. So most likely, a lot of the things the way we do here may not work as well there, but things that work there may not work as well here. So yes, it is an opportunity if you're willing to go with it. But if not, you kind of have to pick and choose, the strength and where you wanna keep going.
Yeah, and then I guess that the Pinterest marketing is way more popular in the US than Brazil. Is this true too?
Yes. So
Right?
Brazil is one of the countries that, Pinterest invested and created.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the top countries, if we look at the whole world. So Pinterest does have some efforts in Brazil, but it's more recent. It has been in the last couple of years. So let's say, years ago when I first started, it was not something that that was well known or people would perceive as an opportunity for the businesses, right? Also, there are
Mm-hmm.
different programs for e-commerce that they're not allowed in every country. So they
Right.
are, not allowed, but they're not provided. So they're provided and supported in the US at a larger scale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, makes sense to me a lot actually, and it's actually a smart move, to run business and stuff. But I believe that you may have some challenges. Maybe you could encounter before. Like, so I have another question about like what challenges have you faced and how did you overcome them? As a person who spoke English as English as a second language, what was the most challenging aspect? Because for me, I have my self consciousness about me talking or listening. Even sometimes, if people talk really fast, like I get nervous, something like that. Yeah.
So the first thing, it's like, as I'm talking to you, for example, right now, and I'm listening to myself, and I notice that sometimes, okay, I didn't use immediately, I know I didn't use this word properly, or I didn't articulate this word properly because of the accent. And sometimes I will just self correct and repeat, or sometimes I'll just keep going, but also coming from a place that if the person in front of me, for whatever reason, is not understanding, how I'm saying what I'm saying, I
Mhm.
will be more than happy to try again, to rephrase. And if it gets to the point that I have to say, I'm sorry, this is how it sounded for me. So you should never be afraid of doing this. One moment that changed a lot, and you mentioned that we met in the social clique, and it actually was when I joined the social clique in the first months before COVID, where we had in-person events. So we had this, it was the last big event that they had done. And we were having, this pretty much, how can I say, we were just talking together, everybody, going over things. And there were a couple of other ladies from other countries. And then came up with the thing, when because I have an accent, because it's not my
Mhm.
first language, I worry that people are not understanding. And then somebody said, listen, first and foremost, this makes you unique.
Mhm.
You have to remember yourself that if you are speaking like this because it's your second language, first of all, you're already winning because it is your second language. Most people you're going to encounter are still on their first language, right? So give
Right.
yourself grace and appreciate that. Number two, then the person said, well, maybe that's what makes it interesting about you. And then I started paying attention on how many people, in the beginning I would just brush it off, and people would say, oh, I could listen to you talking for hours, I love your accent. Actually, I have a client that at one point I was just like, can you like please stop, because at every time I would send a voice message, he would say something, oh, I love your accent, I could keep listening to you. And instead of thinking, oh, this is just this person going creepy, I realized that other people would also say, just the same way that some people may hate it, and that's fine.
Mhm.
But that helped me, like, okay, maybe it's not as bad as I think it is. Maybe it's okay. And then I remember also the same person on that event saying, when you are speaking, you have this accent, people need to pay attention. They can't just be, wondering. Their mind needs to be focused on you, otherwise they will not understand what you're saying. So I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, so this is a positive, right? People
Right.
pay
It's a hook.
attention, right?
Yeah.
So those were things that right in the beginning said, okay, this is okay, I can embrace this, I can accept, and I don't have to. Yes, I love, learning how words are said in the proper way, using the right usage of the language, but I don't bother anymore about the accent. The accent
Mhm.
will come and go. um, if I'm overly tired, I will take a little longer sometimes to think of what I say. So then, obviously, knowing that, I know that a lot of things happen earlier in the day. I will
Mhm.
not do things later in the day because I will be more tired. My brain will be tired, and things may come out different.
Yeah.
So it's too much effort. So you have to embrace that. So those are all fears. It's all in our
Mhm.
minds, right? In the end of the day, yes, there will be people that will judge you for that. There will be people that will just brush you off or think you're not intelligent, you're not smart, or you don't have what you're not the professional they want. And that doesn't belong to you. That belongs to them. That's something wrong with them, not with you.
Mhm.
So you have to let it go and accept, hey, this is me. I will not put energy in this concern. I'm going to put energy in the work that I deliver, in my work ethics, right? In the excellence that I'm giving. So this is what made a difference for me. Is just, I know that the work that I deliver has a certain level of excellence,
Mhm.
not only because people said, but because I also have people working with me and for me. And I started noticing things that I am so, how can I say, concerned about: time, delivery, volume, quality. And other people just deliver whatever. And they think
Mhm.
they're doing the best. And so this is why I know, okay, I know the quality of what I put out there. So I trust that. And I will tell, the potential client or the client, hey, I know what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. This is how I'm doing. Now, if you feel that because of my background, because of my accent, because of anything, this doesn't serve you, that's okay. I know there are
Yeah.
others that will. So you have to tell yourself. And if that means you have to fake until you make it, do it.
Mm,
Remind yourself of the capabilities, the capacities that you have, and forget about the things that are not going the right way, that are not perfect.
mhm. Yeah, I have so much questions in my head actually, but due to our lack of times, probably I can ask later and more. But one thing actually wanted to ask you about is this that we can actually make mistakes in even just professional like situation. For example, like writing some email or just copywriting because we are doing marketing, and then the kind of like slang terms that we may don't know, like kind of like that, those like situation, or even we are kind of like having calls with clients, and then we get really differently and said differently, and then maybe we can actually couldn't close the deal, like those like situations. Have you ever encountered those situations before?
I don't believe that I had situations in which, due to being my second language or accent, the deal didn't go through. Or I do feel that sometimes we may blame and think that that's the case, but I don't believe that is you should focus on that. Yes,
Mhm.
sometimes have I sent an email with the wrong wording? Yes. Have I said sometimes things in a way that people felt it was even offensive? And I had to say, hey, I'm sorry, but this is what I meant. And maybe even like say, hey, when I say this in my mind, it sounds like this, or it means this, because I'm still translating that, which shouldn't be, but
Right.
it's part of the process. And then have to explain that. Then obviously here and there somebody will feel sour about it, but in the end of the day, nobody will care. Everybody's so focused about their own selves and their
Hmm.
own mistakes and how they're perceived, and thinking that everybody's watching them, but they're not really watching you. Now,
True.
there are
Yeah.
things in that make it you. I always believed, even if you don't have a full understanding of the language, or if you don't speak it that well, if you have to train your mind to try to translate your ideas in a certain flow, because the thing, people, you will lose people when you stumble and you stop the flow of speaking. So let's say if I start talking to you and I make a mistake and I stop and I have to think and I'm embarrassed and I don't know, and that, those long pauses, that's when you're going to lose people. But
Mm,
if you continue that flow in a certain way, even if you have to explain, re-explain, or even ask, I'm sorry, I'm trying to say this. How do I say this properly?
oh.
You're engaged with the person. So those are the things that, regardless of my being in business, or because so early I was exposed to different languages and had to learn, had immersion programs where you pretty much go to a country and you don't have any training and you just deal with people every day and you have to talk to them and you have to figure out and understand
Mhm,
on the go, right? I
mhm,
love those experiences. To be honest, I have never been embarrassed in those situations. I always enjoyed the immersion situations so much. But if you keep the flow and if you keep engaged eye to eye, you don't let that bring you down. You don't let that, push you back. The person will continue with you, and the
mhm.
person will pretty much appreciate that you're putting so much effort. So regardless of being a professional situation, or day to day. Now, if you feel that you made a big mistake, really big mistake, being honest and forward and apologizing about it goes a long way.
Mhm.
Someone, I would say, over 90% of people will understand, right? They will see. And again, it's a matter of you showing your excellence through your work
Mhm.
and not your language or how you look or what's your background.
Yeah, it's just a tool actually, just to have conversation, to be honest.
And in the end
Yeah.
of the day, if the person feels bad about it and they're just like, you know what, I don't want to deal with you, you just dodged a bullet right there. Because most likely the person in the future would not appreciate you anyway.
Mhm.
I think that's the part
Yeah.
that's hard for us to swallow because we wanna do everything right. We wanna close all the deals. We want, but not every client is good for us. Not every situation or deal, professionally is what we need. So you have to have that in mind. The client
Mm.
cannot, get go beyond that. It's never it was not your client. It was not for you.
Amen to that. I love this conversation so much actually. Like actually this was for me just for me probably. Yeah. I feel like I'm in kind of like getting some therapy and then healing some moment to be honest.
In the end of the
Okay.
day, a lot of this is all in our minds. So we have to get out of our heads. We have to overcome our own fears and face it. And remember, people are not paying that much attention as we are.
Mhm.
People are not nitty picking us as much as we are nitty picking ourselves. So, yeah, that's the hardest part. But that's the part where you're going to have to, okay, make a mindset shift and realize, remember, people are not, I know that people will buy from you because you are you, not because you are somebody else that they want to be, but you are going to deliver your excellence. And your excellence has nothing to do with your background, with your race, with your color, ethnicity, culture, religion, and even language.
The priority is our excellence. I think that's the most important thing, I guess.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so yeah, we have another question. So, any funny stories that you faced as a person who speaks multiple languages with diverse cultures while running a business in the US? Like, how can we make things less serious with our language barriers sometimes? I think it's related to our previous conversation, to be honest, but yeah, if you have any other situation, maybe you can share with us. Yeah.
So personally, I never had a situation in which I felt that somebody made a comment or something made me feel bad because of my background in language. But also, I do believe that for me, and a lot of people will face that, right? It's how I present.
Mm-hmm.
So even if it's just the mindset, when I show up, I'm already presenting myself in a flexible manner, but which maybe a smart remark that's not welcome will just bounce off, and that's not gonna hold me. That's not gonna, make me worry. But also in a way that I will not allow you to see me as less because this is me. So it's almost this will work for any language, even if it's not about the language. But when you walk in, when you show up, is it for a consult? Is it for a discovery call? Is it for a presentation? Show up fully. If that takes you 5-10 minutes of preparation, of repeating things, of looking yourself in the mirror, or just trying to, do things that will make you feel better and stronger and more powerful, do it. So always show up this way because when you come in that low posture and you are afraid and you're shy, you're almost allowing situations for people to maybe pick on you, maybe say the wrong thing, maybe not listen to you properly, but show up. So, for example, this morning, like usually I don't do, for me it's morning here, right? I usually
Mm-hmm.
like things a little later in the morning, but I want to work with you because you are on the other side of the world and I don't want to make you have this conversation at 2 in the morning because it's completely rude. But it's just, okay, I don't have my makeup on. I don't have my hair fully made, but this is me right now. And this is as good as it's going to get. And this is the best that's going to be. And if somebody is not listening to what I'm talking and is looking at me and nitty picking me, oh, well, too bad. It's your loss. Because I
Mm-hmm.
know I'm sharing something here that could help someone. I'm sharing something here that helped me. And I believe if somebody's watching this, it's because they want to know that. So you have to, whenever you come in, try to, and trust me, that's not something that will happen from the first time. You build that as you go. So practice The more encounters, the more discovery calls in the beginning, the better, because you're going to start seeing, okay, maybe I should have done this, maybe I should have done that. And also, a lot of times, people are not going to realize your mistake or what you're missing until you point. So, no, I never start a conversation or a presentation saying, oh, I am sorry if I'm apologizing ahead of time for mistakes, or never. There is nothing to apologize for. Yes, I will preframe usually, hey, this is my name. I am from Brazil. This is where the accent's for, because I don't want people to be thinking over, what is the accent from? What is the accent from? I had people, in the beginning, like, oh,
Yeah.
I couldn't stop thinking, where is your accent from? So I just, from the beginning, this is where the accent's from. Now, pay attention to the other things I'm saying. But I am not apologizing for it, because there is nothing to apologize for. But if I come in and say already, oh, they're going to be paying attention to that. It's like, is that thing when somebody comes to your house and you go, excuse my mess. Don't do that. That's when they're going to look at the mess. Like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not dressed up. Don't, because that's when they're going to pay attention. If you didn't say it, they wouldn't say it.
Yeah, true. Even I'm wearing just t-shirts, they will not even look at my t-shirts for sure.
No, but if you come in and say, oh, I'm sorry, I am not dressed properly, or I'm not, then they're going to be thinking about it, because you're pointing to it. Don't point to the good things and just let it flow. Now, then if somebody brings it up or say something, then you address it. But show up. I am here because you wanted to talk to me. I am here because I have something that you want. And I am confident that what I have can serve in a certain way. So I always step in like that. And it's so hard because, especially as women, and a lot of times women from other cultures, we were taught to be quiet and to be mute and to be cute and to be very, we agree with everything, right? We serve. No, that's not the situation. Yes, I can agree. Yes, I can serve. Yes, I can be quiet and I can be cute. But no, I'm here because of this that I'm offering. Because I have something that you don't. I know something that you don't. And I'm here for that.
I want to hear this kind of affirmation on my bed every time. To be honest, like, so that I can have that mindset every single morning or every single night. Like, yeah, it was
It's
amazing.
so funny. I think this is also something, as time goes by and through experience and aging, I just feel that when those thoughts sometimes start, or I'm going to an event or something and something is not perfect, I always said, I feel like I'm the broken foot Cinderella, because when it's time to try to show, my foot is broken. And that's even before I broke my ankle. It's like, which means something is always missing. Something is always imperfect. But I learned to, so this is the best it's going to get. That's as good as it's going to get today. And we're going to make the best with it. So if it's me in PJs, that's going to be the best. Obviously, to be honest, I always found it's, you should show up professionally, okay? You should not, if you're trying to catch that client, just try to polish a little bit. Like you have a cute top, you have a cute collar. You're not showing up in your raggedy, cleaning t-shirt, the shirt that you're going to wear on a cleaning day. Or, try not to do that when it's something professional, because people will see that first impression, right? How you present matters. If you go to the doctor and the doctor is wearing, I don't know, something straight out of the gym with sweat marks, it's going to be like, are you the doctor? Ew. Right? So
Yeah, I
try.
get
Some
that.
people, some people go like, oh, come as you are, but no, you should not. Even if you're wearing your PJs, put a shirt on top, tidy up your hair, whatever makes you look a little more presentable, because also you're selling yourself, right? This makes a difference. It's like, I can serve you a cup of noodles, ramen noodles, that I paid $1, or not even $1, 50 cents, and but I make it so pretty in a bowl that you're gonna eat and you're gonna be like, oh my God, this is the best ramen I had. But I can also get a very expensive ramen that I spent hours preparing and have a bad presentation, and you're gonna be like, ew,
Right. Branding
right? It
like
doesn't even
is
matter.
important.
So
Yeah.
make the presentation, take the effort. People notice that. And also, if people don't notice, you yourself notice. Your mind notices that. And it makes us feel better.
Yeah, I think you are really great at kind of like presenting yourself because wearing the red glasses and also your profile picture like red background and your reels, yeah, something like that. So I saw your kind of like marketing stuff is really is
Yeah.
on point. Like you're presenting yourself. I'm Pinterest marketing expert. Yeah, something like that. So that's why
Well, yeah,
you get
if you're,
yeah.
if you're growing a brand and you're growing a business and you're the face of the brand, you have to have those things. You need to be smart. You can't really you want people to remember you. You want to be memorable, and it's not just about a fad or a fashion. Or sometimes people will just do something for attention. They will wear huge earrings and huge glasses. But then in the
Mhm.
end of the day, and sequins and shiny, but in the end of the day, that's not them every day. If you go to the grocery store and you meet me, I look like this.
Right.
That's me, right? So I'm not faking something. Yes, I may tone up a little bit when it's something special or a photo shoot, but that's me. That's how I talk. That's how I behave. That's how I live my life. So
What
it's not a matter of like, oh, I'm creating a persona. No, this is me. Maybe I would tone up and tone down here, there, but still,
Mhm.
that's what it is.
Ah, yeah, I think that's the point. Knowing ourselves is way more important to run business, I guess. Yeah, I believe that this is actually who I am, and then I like myself, but for just the sake of branding purposes, sometimes I think should I wear this kind of like cute sweater to present myself, like
I
even though
mean,
it's not my taste.
it's like when you're creating something interesting. Let's say you're making videos. I mean, some people will thrive with like just a white background and nothing, right? Some people will thrive
Yeah.
with that. But sometimes if that feels like that is you, go for that. But then if something that's a little louder, busier, also feels like it's you, and you want to just polish that a little bit, yes, go for it. Do that. But always, if you feel that, okay, that's not feeling like me, that's it's feeling staged, that's when you should not go, because at one
Mhm.
point people realize this is just staged. And then if you're it's so important, our presence, related to our work and when people want to hire us, because usually when they come to you, they didn't just see you and hire you. It's like they're kind of stalking your content for
Right.
a while. It's
Mhm.
very, they don't, even if somebody that got a referral for you from somebody else, they may spend that time in which they're looking, they're evaluating, at least, they're checking. And if you're all over the place, or if it's fake, at one point, people see that. People are not stupid.
Mhm.
People are smart. So if are able to have that cohesive, however it is that you want to present yourself, right, your branding, and that's also, a sincere approach, people can also feel that,
I'm being
right? People
sincere right now. I'm being sincere.
Not everybody will thrive
Yeah.
like, wearing the little wife beaters and a ball cap and jorts and Crocs, like we have
Mm.
Alex Hormozzi. It worked for him on his brand, but that doesn't mean that everybody who shows up, in a certain way, and I feel that as women, even though we should express ourselves, we are free to express our body. I'm so sorry, but if you show up on a meeting or on a video wearing a little strapless top that is almost see through, or that is like a nude color and gives that wrong impression just for the attention, you may be inviting the people
Mhm.
who are after that and not after what you're giving. Does that make sense? So that's why
Yeah,
your
definitely.
presentation does matter. And regardless of, oh, we should be creative how we dress. We should express ourselves. We should be free to show our body. Well, if that aligns with your message and your business, fine. But if you want something that has a certain level of professionality, a certain level of attracting certain types of clients, you should. Being, oh, I'm a show up like this because I'm Latina. That's not excuse. Oh, I
Mhm.
show up like this because, whatever, that's how we talk, that's how we do, that's what I come from. Okay, that can serve a certain purpose. But if you want to serve a certain market, you have to polish that. It's not just toning down or holding yourself, but it's polishing.
Mhm.
That's art.
Yeah, I think yeah, we should be more smart enough to have my ourselves more presenting and then selling some stuff better than that. I get
I
that.
think
Yeah.
end of the day, when you are doing a certain, a business or something professional, you need to have the eyes on the prize, right? You always have to be improving yourself. Yes, you need to be true to yourself because nowadays we hear so many people, oh, you need to be yourself. Yes, you need to be yourself, but depending on the yourself that you're presenting out there, it's like a very loud version. If that's not serving the purpose of your business or the people you want to attract,
Mhm.
it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
You need to think about it enough. And I see a lot of women doing that mistake. I don't judge. I'm not a judgmental person, but I observe. And then, sometimes, in forums, and then they go, oh, I got this feedback or I got these comments, or they didn't book, they ended up, well, maybe you could have done something to present yourself, to give the impression in a way that's appropriate, professional, you know, regardless
Mhm.
of people saying, oh, it's not, there is no such a thing as professional. Who dictates this? Who dictates that? But if you yourself think, I wouldn't, you know, go to like the example I used to a doctor. If the doctor doesn't kind of give me that idea of doctor and professionalism and all, I know. So
Yeah, I
that's
guess yeah.
true.
I guess there are a certain level of professionalism when it comes to working condition, I guess. So that's why, yeah, we have to at least follow that kind of certain
Everything,
rule of thumb. Yeah.
right? Everything has a right place. If you're wearing something that's like maybe a little too much for that moment, people are just going to be looking at that. They're not going to see beyond that. And I don't think if you really want to build a business, it is your, how can I say, mission to change people's minds over
Yeah,
the perception of how you're dressed. Does that
if
make
if we
sense?
yeah, it makes sense. If it's their kind of mission to conquer the world, then that's their kind of like willingness to do. So it's on them. Yeah,
Yes.
true.
So that's not
Oh,
just to say that you have to change yourself or follow all rules and this and that, or if you are different, you cannot reach. No, but it's a matter of, okay, you have to have the sensibility of understanding, perception, understanding marketing, understanding where you want to go, how far you want to reach,
mhm.
right?
Strategically, yeah. That's correct. Yeah. So we have another question. Actually, we already talked about how long did it take you to establish a solid six-figure business? It was, you told me 5 years, right? 5 years.
Yes, if I count from the very early beginning, when I was pretty much doing work for free, right? When I
Hmm.
was learning and developing skills, you could say that. Now, if you ask me how long did it take for you to go, let's say from, you know, getting $1,000 a month, for services, until you were able to do 12, 13, 15, and even at 1 month, 20, that was about 2 years. But that was already in the middle of the journey. And also, one thing people tend to forget is the amount of time and effort and help you're going to invest to get to the number.
Mm-hmm.
So, even if you say, oh, I just want to have my business because I want to work 3, 4 hours a day. Sure, you can do that. But you're not going to do that from the get-go and get that kind of revenue. You're not.
Right.
Okay. You
You
will at
need
one point either to put in time or to hire people to help you. So people have this feeling that, okay, I'm going to start my business because I just want to, I want to have this vision, and my vision is I'm only going to work this and that. Yes, currently I am at the point that, okay, I don't work 8 hours a day, but I did have times in the beginning in which, I would be working more because I wanted to reach more. I wanted to get more. So
Mhm.
that is until you get to the level where it's like, okay, I don't have to put that much time or that much effort. Everything is just flowing. It takes a lot of time. It takes it's a long process. It's not an overnight. So for me, I think if I had known more things, or if I had pushed a certain way, if I was able, let's say, I always call, hunt more, I could have
Mhm.
reached that level much faster. But I
Mm.
chose for my mental health, for my family. I have kids, I have other things in life that I take care of. So that was for me the safe path, the path that worked.
Mhm.
But sometimes I think I see people achieving that much faster. They're single, they don't have kids. So pretty much they can spend 6 months working 10 hours a day, nonstop. Now, will they burn out? That's a different story, okay? Will they be overwhelmed? Will they break down and quit? That's another story, because we don't realize that until it happens. You don't realize you were burned out until you break down.
Right. Yeah, it happened to me as well before. Yeah. So yeah, I totally understand. So you mentioned that it took 2 years from several thousand to 20K per month, probably, or
So
uh-huh.
that's pretty much the timeline. But again, looking back, could I have achieved that faster if I was pushing harder, or if I was investing on different tools? Yes. But I also feel that, you know what, I never wanted to be the person who is making $1 million but is spending 950,000 to make that.
Mhm.
I don't want to be that person. I'd rather spend, let's say, 4 and make 20. I'm fine with that. Or a little bit more. But I don't want to be the person who is, and I see that a lot. People who invest so much in ads, in hiring software, and yes, they're making 7 figures, but they are spending a lot to get there.
Probably
Time.
six
So
figures. Yeah.
what is left for you? The key is the profit. It's not the revenue. That's
Yeah,
the
right.
thing. It's, what you take home and what changes your life is not the revenue, it's the profit.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
why? So that's one thing that also made me descale my business. Like at one point, like, okay, how much am I spending to make that? Is that what I want? Nah, let's descale a little bit, and I'm gonna be happier, and I'm gonna enjoy more, and I'm gonna be making more.
Yeah, that's I think really good choice because we live in a time just one time here in our life, and then we want to enjoy also some things like rather than business itself sometime like just having some more hobbies and enjoying our free times with our money. So that's why like yeah.
That's, you don't want to get to the point that, every time you get an invoice paid, you go like, yeah, just got paid.
Mhm.
I mean, you want to enjoy, you want to be happy. Like, yes, I got the invoice paid, I have this one. But if you don't have like your goals, and you don't think about it, and you don't think about what makes sense, you get to the point that is just like, yeah, the invoice just got paid. I had a moment in which I didn't want discovery calls. When people when I would get an application to work with me, and it's like a very open, sincere
Mhm.
conversation, I would dread it. I would just, I don't want, I'm overbooked.
Oh,
We
okay.
see people say, oh, you should always keep your pipeline full and all. But I did get to the point where it's just like, I don't want to give you a discovery call because that's going to take up my energy, my time from what I'm already doing. So
Mhm.
people would get upset, but it is what it is, like, I'm sorry. From the get go, I have to be more picky on how I'm doing this, because in the beginning, you take everybody and everything, and you think everybody's a good fit for your business, and you want to try to convince everyone to hire you. But in reality, that's not it. But yeah, I remember being like, I would get an email and I would be upset. I don't want to open this email. I don't want to see this email. But I also don't want to not reply because I feel that's rude. But I don't want it
Mhm.
because I can barely handle what I have. So you don't want to
Yeah.
get to that point.
I hope I can do that in the near
I
future.
mean,
Like,
I wished for that. Honestly, I wished for that. But then when I got there, I was like, oh my God, this doesn't make me feel good.
mm,
This doesn't make me feel good. So it's also like people say, oh, you have to have goals, how much you're going to make. And then the thing is that then you put that number. We always have, oh, I want to make 10K a month. I don't know why we pick that number, but it feels like it's a good number. It's an even number, right? I want to make that a month. And then you get there and you go like, okay, I don't see no fireworks. Nobody's clapping. Nobody even cares. Nothing changed in my life.
mhm.
So
I'm,
I
yeah,
think that an approach like just that number doesn't mean anything. But you only realize that once you get there. So I wish that everyone is able to get there, to push through, and then they get there and like, oh, okay, that's it. That's nothing yet. There's no more. Didn't change my life. Yes, for this month I have a little bit money extra, but it's
yeah,
it's very interesting.
I understand, but I haven't hit the 20K per month yet. I already hit the 10K per month before, but not 20K per month, because that's why maybe I haven't realized that I
I
didn't feel
mean,
like
you will.
I'm
It's a matter of time and effort, but I'm just saying, in the end, that's the thing. Once you get there, you have to stay there. How do you stay there? How do
mm,
you go to the next one? So I'm not saying don't have lofty, huge goals. Yes, have them and go for them. But keep in mind that they are not the end. They are not everything. This,
right.
the everyday, the journey, the doing, the learning, the enjoying what you're doing, that's what make them worth.
Hmm.
That's what make them worth, because on its by itself, they're nothing. Yeah, it's nice. They're paying your bills. They are giving you a better life. But when you solve a problem, you create another problem. So you always want to be searching for better problems. This is from a book, and I forgot the name. Is the F book, because it says the F word in the cover.
Okay.
I've read it a few times and I really love it. Um, but that's it. When you get to that 20K, then you go like, okay, now you have a new problem. You unlock a new problem. It's like video game. You finish one
Mhm.
phase, you unlock a new one that's even harder, and sometimes not even nicer. And then you finish that one, and then you unlock another one that's even more difficult. And so you have to be ready for that. It's not that you shouldn't do it, but you should go like, okay, I'm enjoying this stage because I'm gonna get to that stage, and that stage is gonna be harder.
Mhm. Gotcha. Yeah, we don't have much time, so I'm gonna ask several questions real quick, and then, so Yeah. So how did you develop your expertise, and at what point did you realize now it's gonna be a solid six-figure business? Because sometimes we can get like 5K months, 5K a month, or 3K a month, or sometimes zero. Like it could happen because of like COVID or because of other situation. But how did you realize like, oh, this point is gonna be like solid six-figure like that?
I think that it's you keep going, right? You keep going, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this month got better, and it happened. Now, depending on, I mean, it really depends how you work. If you're working as a freelancer, or if you're working on a retainer contract, right? So then you can have an idea. Okay, this is going to be like this for a while because I have those projects and they're consistent. So this is pretty much, and then also you once you hit that number, to go to the next level, you're gonna have to put way too much more effort, right? To hit the next milestone, because you have to maintain what you have and add. So, I mean, for me, it was just like, oh, okay, look, it's happening. It's happening, and it kept happening. But I also took effort and continuation. You also have to be consistent with it. You have to be going further and further.
Marketing for you, for yourself, and then maintaining your team, yeah, something like that, right?
So, I mean, when it comes on the practical, for me, what helped was having an online presence on as many platforms as I could, and being smart when I'm creating content from the get-go that will first start in the largest platform, and then I can repurpose to the others. Also, like, okay, now email list is so freaking important.
Mhm.
We let it go. We think it's not a big deal. People will say, oh, you don't need a website. Yes, you don't need a website, but if you can have a website, have a website. And oh, you don't need a blog. You don't need a blog, but if you can have a blog, have a blog. Oh, you don't need to be on TikTok creating videos. Yes, you don't, but if you can, do it. So if you search me up, I am everywhere. Is it perfect? No. Is it viral everywhere? No, but it is everywhere.
Mhm.
So that help people finding you and people trusting you when it's time to give you money, because I see you everywhere.
True.
It
Maximizing
becomes
great,
a
yeah.
solid presence. Yes. So you
Mhm.
have to try that. If you are willing to grow, you need to put time and effort, or hire someone who can do this while you do the client work. Which in my case, I did that for a lot of times. I was doing the client work and I have somebody doing those things for me, right?
Mhm.
So I would just record and send it to them, and then, okay, you guys do what you gotta do. Is it perfect? No. There are things that I would cringe or say, ew, I don't like this. Yeah. But
Yeah.
out is better than perfect. Published is better than perfect.
I think that you don't have any like perfectionism in your mindset, right? Like that's why you can
Oh, I
just
do.
complete everything.
I am a perfectionist. I've always been a perfectionist, and I struggle with it, but I have to overcome that. And
Just
that's the thing.
start
You
to,
have
yeah,
to
work.
overcome that, because while you're being so perfect and trying to do something a certain way, somebody else with half of your expertise is just dumping whatever out there and making more with half of
True.
your expertise.
Yes, I haven't started Pinterest yet, actually. So I think it's my time to start Pinterest because, yeah, I met you and I got inspiration from you. Yeah, for sure. So, this is gonna be, yeah, I'm gonna ask this. So, have you encountered, yeah, maybe no, because you already talked to me before. That moving on to next question. Why do you believe diversity and inclusion are essential in the marketing field? Just, yeah, general maybe point of view, or yeah.
I do believe that I am a big fan of diversity, because I feel that we need more. Okay, when you come into whatever profession, but specifically in this case marketing, and you have a diverse background, you've learned different things, you've seen different things, you collected so much information and so many different experiences, and if you're able to translate that into what you put out there, or how to touch your audience, It make in whatever niche, whatever field, it will make a huge difference. People don't see the power of this, but honestly, when you are able to use all of that information to troubleshoot or to create content, it's powerful, and it makes a difference, because our world nowadays, it's not that little oyster as before. And we're still, maybe our generation is still a little stuck on things, but the newer generation is already coming up knowing a lot of what's going on, having this idea of how wide the world is, or how many different things are out there. So when you come in and present, a very narrow point of view, you are missing on touching all
Mhm.
on fulfilling this potential of what the world is becoming. The world is becoming this one huge piece. Yes, you can niche down. Yes, you can choose to work on a certain way or with a certain group, but you cannot dismiss all that is around. You cannot dismiss where the money is coming from, just because you don't want to, you don't want to spread out, you don't want to be diverse. No, the money is coming from a lot of places,
Right.
different. And if you are a business person and you're smart enough, you need to have that, in mind.
Yeah, true. And then I believe that this era is really perfect for who speak multiple languages, because even we have a chat GPT to generate like really great copywriting or even hashtags and whatever. We have virtual assistant, to be honest.
Yes, but you have to understand, and even though English is becoming this language, I believe it gets to the point that what we have, our background adds up to it, instead of making a flat experience. If everything was just one language, one culture, one color, one style, it would be really flat.
Hmm.
So it is a point that, yes, things are getting integrated, right? Um, English obviously is going to take over. However, having those backgrounds, having still this connection with our culture, with different cultures, this adds to it. This
Hmm.
makes it more interesting, more exciting, not just for a brand, but for ourselves. If you think about food, if everything was just one thing, plain and flat, but look how we crave for different flavors, different levels of spiciness, different textures, different everything, right? We crave that, and that's
Hmm.
make life way more joyful. And
I
marketing, the
think,
same thing.
yeah. Hmm. I think ourselves is just our own niche, that our product just personally sell. That's kind of like we can make our branding really bright than just one person who have just one culture, I guess. Yeah.
Yes. So, I mean, present yourself as this diverse person. What you have gathered in terms of culture, languages, experience, that only adds up. That doesn't take away from you. This is not to say that somebody who only speaks one language, who has been living his or her own life in one culture only, that person has less to offer. No. But us, with all of those experiences, with all of that we have, we can bring a different experience, a different customer experience, a different result, because we are using all of that. So don't let what you have gathered behind. Don't forget, oh, I'm just going to do it this way. No, bring that to the pot, bring that to the equation, because the output is going to be way more interesting and way more you, because that's you.
Hmm.
You are diverse, in different ways. So embrace that, and be okay with it. Now, that doesn't mean, once again, go to the extremes. Sometimes we have to polish, right? You have to polish. You want to go further.
I really love your mindset, actually. Like, yeah, just be ourselves, but polished, and
Mhm.
also owning our own cultural aspect, the diversity itself makes us like kind of unique actually. And actually this kind of like really good for clients for sure, so they can actually
Yes.
have to pay for us more than
Think
that.
about it. Client hires you to share a product to a diverse clientele on a diverse market. You are a big asset because
Mhm.
you know how these people think, how all of them, how to reach more, because you have that background. You don't have that only one experience. Is also another thing that I always felt, because I worked with different platforms. I always understood how they work together, how you can actually repurpose, create content that can be useful for all platforms. So a very tangible example is how people want to use their TikTok or Instagram content straight up on Pinterest without understanding Pinterest. And then they go, oh, I've been doing this for a year and blah, 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 and nothing is happening. Yes, because you didn't understand how that platform, how the culture of the people using that platform, how it works. So that's why your experience does not translate. However, if you understand a little of all, you can make better on all of them. So that
Mhm.
is clients.
Yes, I think you already answered the next question actually. How can individuals like us with diverse backgrounds gain more visibility and leverage our unique strengths in business? Like just yeah, be ourselves as we already talked about, a little bit polished, and then owning our diversity and then make it as a strategy and to spread our experiences, I guess. Yeah, I really like this conversation actually. I'm so grateful for having this. It's yeah, again, really healing stuff. Then this is gonna be a marketing strategy. Maybe we can move on to the next. Yeah, just certainly. What marketing strategy have proven most effective for your business or clients in like diverse cultural markets like the US? Like, can you highlight any specific successful approaches? Like, it could be your Pinterest marketing or it could be your general approaches.
So it really depends on, in this will depend on the niche and who the audience is. If you ask me, what was the most effective platform that I used uh, for Pinterest marketing or for my Pinterest products? As strange as it sounds, it was building a presence on TikTok. That
Mhm,
took me those little short videos, giving content without holding back, teaching, giving out so much value away for free. For me, was great. It brought people. So this is what worked for me. And now I am collecting the fruits of building my email list, through all platforms, but a lot from TikTok, because my email list loves to buy. My email list is always buying the things that I'm sharing, which makes me happy, right? That's exactly what I wanted.
mhm,
So this was for me. Now, depending on the client, I've seen clients that one client in a specific, when we started, they were a way smaller, business. Now they are a seven-figure business, and Pinterest came as part of it. So they were
mhm,
using Instagram, Facebook, and then we got, okay, how about we start adding blogs and we start adding Pinterest. And that's the part where I help them. And it was not an overnight process, but it built up. It helped the business build itself and reach a certain level, so that to the point that we could see, okay, this is coming, this is helping, this is growing. So it's almost like, if you think of it, marketing is not a straight line, but it's like almost like a mesh. You have to have all the different things, and sometimes you cannot pinpoint exactly, oh, platform is giving me XYZ. No, because everything kind of works integrated. Like I said, when you build a presence, for business, for your personal business, for a client, the more places you are, the better. So it really will depend. Now, how do you start? How do you get there? That's a very individual. Some businesses, my recommendation, Start where your audience is. Start where you can keep creating content. If you love reels and you already have some people on Instagram and you're not ready, start there, push there, and then from there go to different places. If you are already on TikTok, the same way. Some people may even start with Pinterest and
Mhm.
then go to different. So those are things that I believe works best, is keeping in mind what you have that's working and start from there. Next is what can you consistently be doing as a marketing, as part of your marketing, because there is no point of starting everything if you cannot do it. Oh, I'm going to start a blog, I'm going to have a YouTube channel, I'm going to go on LinkedIn, and then next thing you know, you can sustain that, and there is no point.
Mhm.
Those
True.
are the things that work for me and that I've watched over years working for my clients.
That's perfect advice, actually. And then once you said that about like maximizing your kind of reaching, kind of joining every platform as possible, if we can actually do that. Actually, that's really beautiful strategy because we usually talk about just focusing on several platforms that we can do, not about maximizing reach to get visible or other things. So yeah, I think that's really good one, to be honest. Yeah.
And it's if you have, having one platform where you go deep and the other ones where you just spread, right? You're just throwing seeds. This is, in my opinion, one of the best ways to go until you're ready to go deeper on different ones as well at the same time.
Perfect. Thank you. And then I guess we have just last advice. Yeah, that conclusion. So what last advice would you give us aiming to build at least six-figure business while leveraging their own inclusion, diversity, and plus gender equality?
I mean, it's hard to pick one thing, but I think the main thing that matters and will make a difference is to actually do it and get started and learn as you go and figure out what works, what doesn't work as you go. Let go of waiting for the perfect situation, the perfect branding, the perfect website, the perfect, oh, I know what I'm doing, the perfect offer. No, just get going and it will happen as you go. Then obviously let go of your fears. Don't judge yourself. Don't think that everybody's looking at you. They're not. But they keep going, one foot in front of the other, and keep going. That's the main thing that will make a difference.
Yeah, one thing I want to share with you is that actually I was so afraid to show up on every platform like TikTok or even me talking in English or something like that. But ever since I joined the social clique, I decided to myself to show up no matter what. Like I'm gonna just do
Yes.
it. And yeah, right now I'm doing even live. So I'm so grateful for everything, something like that. And then I don't really like get nervous when I talk about on TikTok or other
Good.
platforms. Yeah, so I guess that's really perfect advice. Just do it and then you're going to just overcome the fear, right?
And then it's what is the worst that's going to happen? You're going to feel uncomfortable for a couple minutes. Somebody's going to make a bad comment, or nobody's going to say nothing. That's the worst that can happen. Okay.
Right.
So do it and polish, perfect, improve as you go. Keep your
Mhm.
mind open. Always watch, what others are doing or what's changing or what is your audience, responding to. To be honest, we see so many creators and business out there that you look at their videos and you cannot believe, but people love it because it's that way. People love it because it's relatable to them. You understand? So just don't be afraid. Just put it out there.
Perfect. And then lastly, if you can share your favorite books or some you admire to learn more about your beautiful business mindset, that would be also
Yeah,
great.
there are in this journey. I did read a lot of books. I suck with remembering names
Mhm.
sometimes, but I do have a few books that I kind of listened, not read, a couple more times. I'm gonna pull up from Audible, otherwise I'm gonna mess up the name, and it is what it is. So I can pull my library here real quick. Um, I did enjoy, let me see. Big, mindset. I love Brené Brown and I love Glennon Doyle. They're both, the whole talk about accepting, embracing imperfection, letting go of shame, how you present that was really big for me. Um, I do have things that I keep thinking a lot about. There is a book that's called The Desire Map Experience by Danielle Laporte, which is it kind of changed my business because it made me think, how do I want to feel every day about my business? How do I want to feel every day about my life? And that's what made a big shift, because until then, I don't know. Now, once you know, what do I really want from this? How do I want to feel about this? Then you can go back, okay, this is what I need to do to get there. Because we are not just chasing a number, we are chasing what that number can give us, how it makes us feel, right?
Mhm.
So that those were great for me. Obviously, I did like, love Ryan Holiday. I do have a few that I like, Gabrielle Bernstein, manifestation, attracting, and things like that. But that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. I think I don't have one specific book that I said, oh, this one was changed everything. But there are books that I have listened a couple times because the message was so deep. But one that I can think that in my journey got was this one, about the
Mhm.
desire. What is that you desire from your relationships, from your life, from your business, even. And it's not exactly a business related book, but it helps you, okay, this is what I want, and that's where I want to go, and this is what I should be doing to get there. Because in the end of the day, you have tips from everywhere, you have people teaching everywhere. Not everything will work for you. I'm sorry, I don't time block sucks. Took me years to realize that time blocking, for example, sucked the life out of me, and
Mhm.
I cannot work that way. And you're gonna see tons of people, you have to time block, you have to this, you have to that. You know what, that doesn't work the same way for everyone. So
Mm.
understanding where you want to get, what you want to do, what you really want to feel, that's what's gonna allow you to choose the right tools for your journey, for your business.
Oh, mic drop. That was amazing. Yeah, so yeah, I might reach out to you and then gather those books information once again. So yeah, I think yeah, this is our ending. It was so
This has
much
been
fun.
great. I
Sorry.
enjoyed talking
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah, it was so much great advice, and then I cannot believe that I actually got those beautiful advice, like 101. Actually, thank you so much for joining this interview with me, Teresa, and I really appreciate your insight on Global Movement Project. And everyone, if you ever know someone who spoke or speaks English as a second language and built at least six-figure business with diverse backgrounds, please feel free to DM me on LinkedIn. I'm gonna leave that link in the description box below. So bye for now. See you on episode 2 soon.
Thank you so much.
Bye, Teresa.